everybody thinks that I'm okay. Sometimes I think I am too. I'm on the outside looking in, I'm waiting for the shockwaves to begin. Oh, won't you let me hold you for one time? Just a rainy day in a London cafe, a London cafe. So give me one last serenade. Say to me or swear at me till the night turns into day. And it was a shame when daylight faded, because we didn't notice at all. For you.
All right, lad.
How come they're getting all that stuff?
They've lost everything. They've left a war zone.
She's taking your photo there.
You better delete that photo. They're just kids, man. Let them get in the house and get settled, man.
Hi, I'm Corinna from the Fan Carpet, and we are here once again in Leicester Square at the premiere of The Old Oak. Now, this sees the return of Ken Loach in this wonderfully heartwarming tale, a British drama that really focuses on community and social issues that we face every day, such as immigration and integration within that. So, I'm very much looking forward to meeting everyone in the cast and discussing these issues that affect us all. Hello, hi, I'm Corinna from the Fan Carpet.
Corinna, thank you for asking us.
Well, thank you for chatting to us. I just would like to know, obviously this is a very important film that you've written, something that's topical, something we talk about really every day. So why now? Why was it an important film to write now?
Well, we started this process 4 years ago, and sometimes you're lucky, but sometimes the themes, I know, and the essence of the story has more resonance years later, and that's what's happened with this. So it's been kind of uncanny to see many of these things become, so important. But I think what's happened is we see a chaotic world. We've seen so many having to flee war, and now we've also, I would say, we have a racist government who's incited hatred and incited racism by their language, talking about hordes of people and invasions. When people are under so much pressure and the victims themselves. Sue Ella Braverman has been despicable in my view. So in a strange way, our story seems to have more resonance now because of the way the world has changed. And we also wanted to look at the notion of hope. I mean, we live in really dark times. I think we have a terrible government. We have a pretty anodyne and useless opposition. So where do people find hope? Where do they find inspiration? And so we wanted to tell this story where you would examine the people in our communities who do give us hope and do give us nourishment. And that's inspired by many people that we saw.
Well, you mentioned that this is something you started working on 4 years ago, and how, although everything has changed a little bit since then, it's actually more topical than ever before. We've since seen COVID happening, we've seen Ukrainian war now, and so obviously these disenfranchised communities are feeling the gravitas of that even more so than ever before. And speaking to the cast, they were talking about how it was representative also of a community that maybe misdirect their racism.
Yes,
that they feel disenfranchised, they feel let down by their government, so they see new communities coming in as a threat to their place. Is this sort of a way of changing people's perceptions all up and down the country?
Well, I think the beautiful thing about a story is, if it's skillfully told, you sit down there in the dark and you're well disposed to put yourself in other people's shoes. You see the close-up, you hear them, you hear their accents, you see the host community, the home community, but you also see the people who travel. And then you tell a story and you get to know the characters. And there's something about human beings I do think they try to understand, And this is, so telling a story like that is almost like an antidote to the people who want to simplify, who want to sow hatred, who are populist, who tell lies. And so our story doesn't shy away from complexity. And I think there's great creativity in hope. First of all, you've got to understand and untangle the complexity. You've got to listen to people. You've got to be generous to people, understand their fears. And then if you do that, then you see connection and the human connection being made. And that's something I saw in these communities, and I hope the film honours that complexity.
I absolutely love that, because really what you're saying is about cultivating empathy in society. And I know myself from working globally on ships and things like that, you meet people from different cultures, and actually once you tear down the barriers, you see that we're all the same, really. You know, we have cultural differences, but we're still humans, and that's what brings us together, right?
Yeah, well, it's a lovely notion, and I think what we have in common is, you know, is much greater. But when things get really, really tough, I mean, there's a wonderful academic called Danny Dorling who's just analysed fragmenting Britain, and he says this is the greatest crisis in standard of living since 1798, the Napoleonic Wars. So there are real problems. People are going to bed hungry. The Syrians didn't expect to find people hungry in the communities they arrived at, and they did. And what was lovely to see those two communities try to understand each other. And I think we'll have to operate and try and understand how power operates in our lives. You know, we saw what happened with austerity. We saw the way that people on welfare were scapegoated. We saw that in our film, I, Daniel Blake, the systematic cruelty towards them. So I think we have to see how cruel and how racist our government is, I would argue. And then we have to find ways to try and compensate for that. But the great thing is, you'll always find fantastic grassroots organisations and people, and ordinary people, their sheer decency and their attempts to understand, that's always inspiring. And we've tried to capture that complexity in our story.
I absolutely love that, and I guess what you're trying to say is, well, it's not just about the politics, it's about community, and I think maybe we have lost some of community, and actually what you're doing is bringing community back to the foreground as well, that we are each other's neighbours and we must help one another.
Well, I mean, the main character, TJ Ballantyne, I found my old notebook the other day, you know, and I wrote this before I wrote the introduction to the screenplay, and it said TJ Ballantyne has lost faith. You know, and he's the main character, and it's brilliantly played by Dave Turner. And given the objective circumstance which many people live now, you understand why people lose faith. But the question is, how do we find it again? How do we find our common humanity? How do we find the courage to look forward to our lives and look after each other? Where do we find nutrition from? These are ageless questions, you know, and I think the team have done very well to try and capture some of those questions.
I can't wait to see it. I would love to keep chatting to you, but you've got so many other lovely people to speak to, so thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time. Good luck. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
We've had a lot of fascinating conversations here tonight in Leicester Square about this beautiful new film, The Old Oak. It is certainly something that's going to raise questions, get people talking, and hopefully encourage some hope in our community. I've been Corinna Jane from the Fan Carpet, and remember to follow us on Facebook, X and Instagram.
It takes strength to build something beautiful. Shukran. Do you know what shukran means? It means thank you.
Shukran.
Shukran.
you show what you can do. I hear a siren. Maybe you were wrong about me. I'm dangerous and still.
I'm here on the largest of the Balearic Islands, Mallorca, with the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea, beautiful mountainous landscape, the thriving city of Palme, quaint little market towns, a growing number of luxury hotels. It's no surprise that the likes of Audrey Hepburn and Elizabeth Taylor like to holiday here. So come and join me as I take you round Mallorca.
Thank you for watching The Fan Carpet. If you like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up button at the bottom of your screen. And also be sure to subscribe to the Fan Carpet YouTube channels. They're absolutely free and so much fun too. Be sure to check out the official website, thefancarpet.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date with reviews, competitions, the latest news, and so much more.